Hello, Craig Thompson Wood here, and I'm back for the next part of the Space Station Zero campaign, where I've started off even before the game starts, where I've been building the team and literally building the team now. So I've designed them on Hero Forge, and now you see them here before me, ready to take their first licks of paint. Now, I have been delayed in this because of a couple of things. One, I was first off, I was when I printed them, I found that they're a little bit small. Like, this is another figure, just to give you an idea. This is another figure that's about human size. So you see, they're actually quite tidy. And this is at 100% of what the Hero Forge files were. So I wanted to print them at a bigger size, but I've tried a couple times now, and it's just each time, like, I go through all the process of making sure all everything's leveled as well as I could, and trying to get some time to do it. And then when I do it, it's just the prints are failing. The first time it failed, like spectacularly, it was just like nothing there. And the second time, it was like so many islands and things, and I'm just like, I got a little frustrated, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna give it one more shot. But I thought if I give it one more shot, it's just delaying the video even more. So I am just going with what I've got now, because I am a fast painter. So what I can do even is I can paint these up, and then later when I do get the proper scaled ones done, then I'll just quickly paint those ones up off camera and get those onto the table. But at least this way I can play with these, right? There's nothing saying I can't play with these and start with these and get things going, because otherwise I am just delaying further. So my first step in painting ones, I primed them. So I primed them. Normally I prime in black. I'd run out of black primer, so I had a skeleton bone primer. So I've done that for them. And in the next step of preparing to paint, the next thing I do is just prepare my station, where I have some water here and everything off camera. But I'm also take a moment and I look at each of the models and try and think about a few things in terms of what skin colors do I want. Now, because they're all different aliens, it's I want them to be different skin colors. But so with this one, where it's like based on a crocodile, like a humanoid crocodile, I don't want it to be green, right? So I want to think of like, how am I going to paint this so it's not just looking like a crocodile? And I guess it could, but I don't want it to. But then again, I also want to think about cohesiveness as a team. They need to look like they're from the same crew. So I'm thinking uniform. And then I talked about the parasites on the back. While I don't want them all exactly the same, I do want some similarity there, just so, again, cohesive. There is also things in terms of that I've learned over the years about color patterns and color wheel and stuff that are important to making a model look good. Because if you just use the wrong colors all over the place, doesn't matter how well the details are painted, it's just going to look messy. And I also learned something called the triangulation of color, which I'll talk more about as I'm doing it. I'm just going to dive right into this right now and get started. And what I decided on is, I was thinking about the color schemes for it, and I don't want the uniforms to be anything too bright, and I didn't want white, because white's a difficult color to paint with. So I thought I would go with blue. And as I thought about the blue, I thought, hey, something occurred to me, that's the color of the science officers on Star Trek, so I thought that is even more fitting. But I didn't want a very dark or rich blue, so I'm going with this. And I used like a variety of different paints. Like, I've got some Army Painter, I've got some thing. I mean, I don't care what paints. And I even have over here, you can see some dollar store craft paint, and I've even been known to use those once in a while for some things. So I'm just going to put out some blue here, get some blue going. All right, and I'm putting quite a bit. And then I'm going to use this brush. And this brush is quite big. I mean, I'm not going for detail here. And this is part of the thing that I like about the way I paint, is I paint with speed, right? I paint quickly, I paint well. So I'm not worried about details. This is a tricky way to paint now, because I'm watching through my camera. I'm not looking at the model directly. But I've done painting things in the past where I've been painting, and then I realized, because I'm so focused on what I'm painting, that I'm not looking at what the camera is showing, and I am, doing something like this where I'm painting. So this time I'm painting on camera, looking right at the camera as I'm painting. But like I said, like the paint's going everywhere here, and I'm not worried about that at all. Because that's part of my thing, like paint, don't worry about it. because I can clean up the other things later. Now, if you were doing things with speed paints, those speed paints tend to be, they're very liquidy. What's the word I'm looking for? They have a high viscosity. Is that the word I'm looking for? I'm not sure. I don't know if I'm using that properly. Anyway, they're not forgiving of mistakes. Anyway, so you can't cover over spots. You know, like if you want to cover over, you have to get another paint, like a regular paint probably white over top, and then go back and paint the that intended color in the proper spot. So for me, it would be a disaster because I am just too used to this, and I like this. I like the way I do things. I like the way it comes out and everything. And like I said, I can achieve quick results and results that I'm very satisfied with. So there you go. So that's now it's not going to stay looking that blue. It's going to be darker because in the end I am going to be using a wash. This is my favorite wash here, the Army Painter Strong Tone. This is like that commercial for Frank's Red Hot Sauce. I put that shit on everything. I use that, for once I did put on the base colors for everything, and pick out a few details and stuff like that. And then once that's all done, I don't do a lot with highlights and blending and stuff like that because I'm just going to, and I'm doing this like some people also say. So anyways, to finish my thought, I don't do a lot with the highlights and blending because then once I get all those things picked out, I just stick the wash on, and then the wash will pick out the details, make all the details kind of pop, and it will do this amazing thing with creating its own like soft shades and things, and like gradations of shade as it goes deeper into the recesses and things. It's absolutely amazing. I love it. And you'll see how I apply it too. Like some people, they're like, no, you're gonna ruin it. And I'm like, nope. I've done it many times now. I know exactly what I'm doing. I know exactly what I can expect in the end, and it has never let me down. So, the first time I used the Strong Tone, it was in a can, and I did this dip method. People talk about, it's a way to speed up painting. Just paint some basic things and dip the model into that, and I would attach it to the end of a drill. I had a special sort of setup with some sticky tack and thing to stick it to the end of a drill, and then put it in a cardboard box and I'd just spin it at high speed, and all the excess ink would fly off, and that'd be done. But I've found that still time consuming to stick it on the drill and do all that stuff, and also wasteful because a lot of that ink was ending up like in places other than on the models. So I eventually I got to just brushing it on, and then I came up with my current method, which you'll see later. No spoilers. All right, and then what was I saying before? It must have been a lie. But yeah, so just doing this. Oh, I think I was going to say that a lot of people when they paint, they suggest painting like you're dressing. So you start off with the skin, and then work your way up. Well, I'm kind of doing the opposite here. I'm starting with the outer clothes here. I'm doing that for a simple reason that I just, as it's my first model too, like my first models for this, I want to just get a sense of it and see if I like it. Because that's another thing too. I'm not afraid to paint over something if I don't like it or I feel I've made a mistake. I've been known to just start over a whole model. Just say, okay, let's just start over. And as long as you don't start over like too many times, you're not really going to be obscuring the detail that much that's going to be noticeable. So, but yeah, so I'm just starting here just to get a sense of the color, and also just in terms of I want to be able to show progress. As you're watching here, I want you to be able to see that this thing's coming together, and I don't anticipate that I will be filming every second that I'm painting. Because otherwise it's still probably gonna take me like a couple hours or so to paint all these. I don't think it's, I don't know if I can have enough to say about all this while I'm painting it for a couple hours, nor do I think you'd want to watch for a couple hours. But yeah, well, I'll sort of when I get to certain parts here, I will pause the video, and I'll proceed on my own, and then I will come back and show you, you know, okay, this is where it's at now. So, even thinking out loud here, now this is probably a good spot to even do this here, because all I'm doing is the base coat, and it's, really not much to it. Like you see exactly what I'm doing. I'm not worried about things. I'm just using a nice big brush, and I'm going in and just covering all of the outer clothes, giving a nice cohesive uniform feel to the team because they're all wearing their science blues. Right. Okay. My captain. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to finish off the soldier and then come right back. All right, as it turns out, the junior scientist here with no weapon, the pacifist scientist, he also was left out. So now everybody has their blues. Now you can already see, even with just that one application of color already now, they look like a team. Right? That simple application of one thing, even though it's messy or whatever, this is approaching, for some people, even tabletop ready. I mean, if a person were to play a game with me with these models like this, I'd be okay with that. Right? What I don't like is when the models are all unpainted. Now, it depends on the game and stuff, but if you're playing like a war game or something like this, a miniatures-based game, I'd like to see some paint on the models. This is okay. It's not great, but at least it's got something. It's getting there. It's looks more interesting. And again, you see the cohesiveness of the team. So now the next part would be the looking at each of them in terms of what is it for their skin colors. So each of them is going to have a different skin color, except for the captain and the one scaredy scientist, the one who's sort of scared away here. So and I thought about different colors, but you know what? I just love the classic green alien look. So I'm going with some goblin green here. And I'm just going to do that. So I'm going to put some out. Boop. No, this is hard to do with the camera. Okay, got it. Okay, it's a little thick, so I'm going to just be careful. Now, the funny thing about these fingers, so remember I gave him 2 fingers because I didn't want it to break. Well, his fingers were fine. His arms, some other people that were breaking off, and I think part of the problem with that too is that they're so small, right? If I made them bigger, then they're going to be a little more sturdy. So anyway, so again, some of this might go back onto the blue, and I have to tidy up the blue again, and sometimes I go back and forth a little bit until I get it all just right, but that's okay. Each time I should be getting closer to the ideal coverage. So just trying to see where his hand goes there. Can't really see his hand on the inside, so we'll just leave that. All right, so that's his face done, and his hands, so his skin is done. And as I said, this guy is the same. Now, you know what? Here's something. Okay, let's just have a little fun with this. So now I like to use like a bone color, or in this case, corpse pale, instead of white to lighten up a color. So if I want to lighten up white, if I go with just plain white to lighten it, it's just going to make it really it's too stark of a contrast. So if I just thought, humans. Look at us. I mean, different skin, a lot of different skin colors in humans, but even amongst Caucasians like myself, like there's some people who are more, an olive complexion, some are more pale, so it's all kinds. So I'm going to just take that green that I had before, and for this guy, I'm going to pale him up a bit. Right? Just a little bit of lighter green in there. So he is a lighter complexion than his captain. And so now, okay, that's a watch. So I was just looking at this to see, is that a glove on his hand? I guess under the watch, it could be a glove above it if I wanted it to be. These are some decisions you have to make. Sometimes when I'm painting, I don't recognize something for what it is until I'm started painting partway through. I'm like, oh, that's what that is. I think at this one time, that I was painting some game for some models for Black Rose Wars, which is about wizards. Painting this one female wizard, a necromancer, and she had like this potion on her belt. And it wasn't until I like almost finished her and I realized the potion bottle was not a potion bottle, but in fact a skull. And I'm like, she's a necromancer. Of course it's a skull, right? So it was one of those moments. So, but it's okay. Then I just went back and I painted over the color that made the potion bottle into a bone color. There you go. So look at these two side by side right now, and it will change a bit again when the inks go on and everything, and you know I might do some more highlights or something, but you can see that's just something fun you can do with that. So I have a bit of green here, and like I don't like to waste the paint, so I hadn't planned necessarily on anybody else being green. Like it's definitely not the crocodile guy. Yeah, you know what? I hadn't quite settled on a color for this guy. I was thinking maybe like a gray, but he's green now. So this is sometimes too what I do is, you know, I look at, you know, when I'm painting, this is another reason why I like batch painting. Batch painting, one, helps get things done quicker because you can just do multiple models at the same time, and you can just like I say, get the big brush out and just start doing all the skin tones, doing one color for all of them, and just boom 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 do an assembly line. But also when you mix up a paint or something and you have more of it than you anticipated, you're like, okay, you start looking around, who can I use this on? How can I not waste this paint? And then you start applying it elsewhere, right? So there we go. Oh, his ear there. So he's green. He's green. And this is, like I said too, like, because I do plan on printing a second batch of these guys, I can always, let's make his chest there showing. There's no chest here, he's a swimmer. I can always, if I'm like, you know what, I'm really not digging that green on this guy, I can always change it when I do the next batch, right? Maybe he's like a chameleon, his skin changes colors, so really I can do what I want. I can do what I want. All right, so clean my brush there. And now I was thinking like a nice reddy brown terracotta for the insect guy. Now because this is a darker color, I would probably want to do a highlight afterwards, just right? And I might do the horns a different color here too. But doing in there. So okay, now that I look at that one there, you can see his chest is showing. So it really was chest showing there. Yeah. I don't know if you can hear my grandson in the background cooing. He's just woke up. He's in a good mood, which is nice. And boom, 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 boom. And, you might be looking at this and saying, wow, Greg, you say you paint well, and right now I think you paint like crap. And that's okay. You're allowed to think that. But I tell you, by the time I'm done, you may change your mind. Because my stuff turns out looking pretty good when it's done. So it's all part of the process. Like I said, right now I'm not worried about things like details and things. And I put too much terracotta down too. I'm not being too careful with my portions right now. But hopefully, one thing I'm thinking about now, that if you're looking at this and saying, man, this looks terrible, that if you stick around to the end of the video and see what they look like when they're done, maybe it'll inspire you. If you've been reluctant to paint, like I know I have some friends who are scared to paint, so they're like, I don't want to ruin it. I'm like, you're not going to ruin it. I said, worst kind of worst, you're not going to like it, you're going to start over again, but you're not going to ruin it. Hopefully this might inspire you to say, well, okay, you went through that process and it looked terrible at first. It doesn't, so you just know that, have faith in the process, and by the end it's going to look good. So now I'm looking at some other things. Like I have more terracotta here. So let me just. This is my little cheat. I pop the lid off. Just rub my finger over like that. Get it back of my finger as much as I can, and then boom. If I really don't want to use it, again, I'm trying to be not wasteful with the paint. So for my next color, I'm going to do an oozing purple. And I think this is what I'm going to do for the... I did it again. I know I just put too much down. So maybe I'll do it for both. I was planning to do it for the crocodile guy here, but I put too much down again. And I was going to say maybe it's because they're smaller than I would have, but you know what? I know I do this all too often. You'll put too much stuff down. And there we go. So that hand there, that hand there. And then his feet are showing too. Now my plan for the base is just to make all the bases just a solid black. You know, I'm not going to bother with texturing, doing anything, especially as these are the prototypes, if you will, the first draft. I'm not going to be spending any more time on them than I have to. And then, the brush is getting in the camera's getting in the way of the brush here. This is awkward. All right, so that's that. Okay, and as I do have extra left over, I was even just thinking the parasites could be like that color. My plan for the parasite was to use this brighter pink. But I'm even starting to wonder if that's too much. I want them to stand out, right? I want them to be noticeable. But we're going to go with the purple on this guy as well. The fact that he is such a different style of humanoid. Like he's not. I think he's based on an orc from the Hero Forge thing. Actually, looking here, he's got like as I'm doing this, he seems to have some sort of elbow pad there. So this is probably that. Okay, now that I come to the cuff there, that's a sleeve I just painted. So this is going to be, this part here will be painted back into a different color because it's not exposed skin there. It is a sleeve. So, but this side definitely looks like an arm, a bare arm. So who can tell with these alien uniforms, right? It can be whatever you want. This isn't like I'm doing some sort of historical miniature where the colors and the things have to be all accurate. No, thank you. Okay, so there we go. Everybody now has skin tones. So again, as you know, little by little, you see things just coming together and things are looking more like a halfway decent painted team. Okay, I'm going to continue with the soldier because I think he's just got a lot of easy stuff on him, given that he's got a lot of sort of metal bits and stuff and that thing, you know, protection. So I'm just gonna, again, just keep it really simple, especially for this one. As I said, the prototype. So I'm just going to take the weapon here and I'm going to just paint it silver. So paint the whole thing silver, and I might have to touch up again on some of the hand parts there. Okay, I'm going to paint his helmet silver. The eye pieces here, I'll paint a different color, and I'll talk about that. That's going to be a specific color choice there, based on my knowledge of the science of colors that I've learned in my years on this earth, both as a student and as a teacher and as a painter. Oh, yeah, so I just painted that one there without really thinking too much about it. Now, I was looking at this stuff here, and I see this sort of seems to be some different plates and stuff. I'm not going to go too heavy into the plates and things, but I am going to paint these. Again, just give him more of an armored appearance, because he does have armor. He is the one armored character on the team, and the scientists will take care of him, boosting his armor each turn. That's what they do. The scientists can boost armor. And so then and back there. And again, you see it's going on a little bit messy, but that's fine. This will all be cleaned up afterwards. All right, so that padding in there is going to be a different color. He's got a couple of arm bracers here, some bracelet type things. Let me looking for my finer detail brush. Where did I put it? There we go. I found it. So now I'm going to just give them onto the arm braces as well here. So full disclosure, this is one guy he broke right at his wrist there. So, but a little bit of glue, a little bit of paint, and you won't even notice. Yeah, I'm one of those people, I don't get too hung up. Like, if you throw my model across the room intentionally, then yeah, I'm going to be pretty pissed off. But if in the course of a game something breaks or whatever, it's like, okay, well, accidents happen, and we'll fix it and move on. Right, so it's all good. Yeah, you know what? And then here too, these things. I can switch back to a bigger brush for these. You see wobbling on the camera. That's because my hand keeps hitting it. It's not used to, I'm used to doing certain movements to go back and forth between paint and model, and not used to having a camera in between. And okay, again, a little bit messy, but that's fine. The colors are coming down. You're starting to see things come together. That is what I wanted. So you see him, and you know what? As much as I say I'm going to this is obviously a sleeve because it has the elbow pad there. I was going to leave this sleeveless. I'm not. I think it would just look weird to have like one exposed arm, especially as a soldier. I mean, he's a space soldier. He's not trying to show off for somebody, right? Well, I guess he might be, but I mean, he's not for these guys. It's just to me, it would be better. So I'm just not coming out. Sometimes you squeeze so hard to get something to come out, and then it comes out like a giant glob. Oh, there we go. Got a little bit out. So let's boop that, and we will then apply. Oh wow! I don't know if you can hear that in the background. My once happy grandson you heard just a moment ago was cooing happily down here, and is now coming out of the bath upstairs, and he's screaming like a demon. Speaking of demon, Rain in Hell. That's another good game. I could maybe do on the channel. I have done on the channel, I think, a little bit, but I'd do some more again with it. It's fun because you get to create kind of fun demons and things. I certainly have enough demon models already painted with like stuff from my Nurgle and everything like that. There we go. Okay, so that's that. I think that's looking better. Having a sleeve down, it looks more like a solid uniform now. Okay, so I might as well take the opportunity there to touch up some of the spots where the silver from the boot things there came over. And this is going to paint up to here. Just a little more carefully now because I don't want to have to repaint if I don't have to. And I'm going to go in between here with the blue. And back here. That's better. And more into there. Yeah. That looks good. Okay. Let's see, his chest could use a bit of work here. Just on the inside, I noticed that some of the silver got down where I didn't want it. So push that around. Tidy up that spot there. Much better. Yeah, definitely like that much better. Okay, so there we go. So his silver's all done, right? So that's a good chunk of his model done. I see some silver gone onto his hand there. So let me just see now. I have a little bit of blue left over. So this, again, those opportunities I take to say, look at these guys quickly and touch up spots where maybe skin color now, because I didn't do it the other way around, has got on to spots I don't want it. So I tidy up the blue that I had previously done. Actually, as I'm looking at it too, sometimes you just get inspired by things in a moment. And I just, as I was looking at this, so I zoom in here, okay? You see that collar, whoop. Hard to do this depth perception through a camera. So this collar here, just a collar, but I'm thinking because he is the chief scientist, maybe give him like a red collar or something just to make him stand out. And it could be like, instead of wearing like the chevrons or something like we'd wear in our armies or badges and things, the stars, the red collar would indicate to this his rank. So then, maybe he could have like a red hood then. Red hood to indicate his rank, or maybe even a different color hood. It doesn't have to be red. Maybe red is one. Anyway, just thoughts, right? Because who's to say how the insignias and colors and stuff indicate different rank and position in this particular race, right? So, okay, so let's what I'm gonna do now. Okay, well, you know what? I started doing some more stuff with this guy. Let's just continue with him. So I'm going to get some gray here for the brain. So just a little bit of gray. A little bit more than that. All right, there we go. Oh, lost control there. Okay, so the brain. Brains. Okay, there you go. There's your gray matter. And I was thinking about doing the gas mask here gray, but I want it to stand out. I want it to be more noticeable because it's an important item that he has. So for other grays, oh, sorry, again, just not used to having this thing in the way. I will, you know what? Where's the gray? It's here. Maybe for him, put it onto his pad there. Maybe the pads can be gray, so he'll have a pad there. They'll all have the same pad, right? And he doesn't have a pad because he's wearing a different suit. He has, well, we'll give him a different pad because it's a different style. But all these guys will have a gray pad there. Okay, that pad is nothing important, so it's not something that I want necessarily to draw attention to. I don't want to ignore it, but I also don't want to add a very bright color there, something which is going to draw the eye to it. So just keep it as that. Okay, maybe their boots as well. Seeing as I just a little more gray here. Again, looking to use the colors that I have without wasting. And the boots aren't important. What you want to avoid and is the overuse, or the not overuse necessarily, but you want to be careful about your use of the color red, because red is the most eye attracting color. So when you see red, your eyes are drawn to it. So if you're giving this person red boots, well then your eyes, as you look at the model, are going to be drawn to his boots. Now, unless the boots are for some reason something that you are so fantastic you want people looking at them, it's not perhaps the greatest use of it. So I would then suggest, saving red for other spots, like particularly in the face, because that's you ideally want to be looking. The face should be what draws the attention. So he's got gray boots. I think gray boots. They're all gonna have gray boots. Right, so he's got the silver protection there, the armor. Underneath that, he's gonna have gray boots. Standard issue nerd gray boots. Oh, you caught me. I was doing it off camera. Got looking at it and started doing it that way. All right, so it's really tricky doing this, trying to do this on camera. So now Captain, he's got some fancier looking boots there, so I will give him a different color. Again, he's the captain, but the blue at least ties him in with the rest of the team. He has no boots, he has no boots, and he has boots. Okay, cats and boots and boots and cats and boots. All right. Oops. As so, the plans we make do not often. What's the saying? The plan rarely holds in the face of contact with the enemy. Something to that extent. So too, sometimes my plans of what I plan to paint, the colors on these things, doesn't last the full way through the miniature. I try to think, okay, these are the colors I want for certain things, but then it doesn't last. What I was just saying about the color red and how eye attracting it is, it just suddenly occurred to me that is exactly the color I want for the parasites. Because, you're looking at these guys, they all look so cool and dynamic with their guns and their different alien features and whatever. But let's never forget who the real boss is here. Let's not forget who is in charge. And that's this one right on the back here. So I'm going to paint this red. It will draw the attention to it. And again, it's not going to be so bright in the end, because with the ink wash it will dull it down a little bit and darken it, but it's also going to make all these details pop. It's really cool, but I'm getting a lot of red. The problem is, honestly, I just keep hitting my paintbrush against the phone, but c'est la vie. Maybe if I move forward a little more. Okay, and just sort of keep touching up in there. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to come in afterwards and clean up the blue again, which is fine. Part of the process. And again, it doesn't look like much now because it's still, this guy's just a blob of red now. But once I start to pick out the details, like the eyes, the teeth, maybe give him a different color for the lip or something, and do some transitions, like some some things in the tentacles there. So as the tentacles go to the ends, I might start to fade the color into something else, a different color, just to, again, to distinguish them so they're not all like a generic looking thing. But I think red is the right choice to really make them just stand out, because these are the true race here. This is it. These are the ones that matter. The other ones are merely the vehicles. I'm getting really excited about playing this. I think I bought the game back in COVID with the intention of like, hey, it's a little game you can. Oh, it's pinned over his ears. Silly me. Fun little solo game. Do it. Just never got around to it. I think I found out about this game from my friends at Indie Invasion Podcast, which is something I kind of felt I was really good about. They do their podcast Thursday nights, a video podcast. You can join them from Facebook at Indie Invasion. Just look up Indie, INDIE, Invasion Podcast, and they do a live recording. And I've found out about some really good games through them. I mean, through this and Star Breach and Urban Manhunt. That's another great one. So a lot of great games I found out about through them. Yeah, like some I've played and really enjoyed, like Urban Manhunt and Star Breach. I played quite a bit of. I've played Rain in Hell at least once, but this never got it to the table yet. Not once, not even on my own. So this is one of the reasons why I said, okay, you know what? Enough is enough. I want to play this. And I thought the idea of this to do this whole thing, the whole build-up and everything, just seemed like a fun way to do it all too. So hopefully you've enjoyed that. So we're almost there with painting these red parts up. Again, like I say, don't slow yourself down. Like I said, that's what I think kills the motivation for a lot of people, is that they're like so worried about making a mistake and they got to get it perfect and they get the thing in the wrong spot. They get frustrated and, oh, it looks like crap. It doesn't look the way I want it to, or whatever. Just relax. Enjoy the process. Just know that what you do. Oh, did it again. It can all be fixed. When you make a mistake, you can fix it. Just relax, enjoy, paint, and know that as you're painting, I honestly believe your enjoyment of the game will be enhanced, because it's so much nicer to play a game with nicely painted miniatures. There's odd exceptions. Like I was just playing Unmatched by Restoration Games this weekend. And one of the people I was playing against asked me, well, why haven't you painted these yet? And I said, I actually don't plan to. Because, a lot of my games are painted. If they have miniatures, I paint them. That's just the way I am. But that one, I don't know. It's just really nice. They've done like this dark ink wash on them so that the details pop, right? Again, so the ink wash. And, yeah, I never really felt it necessary to paint them. And I'm just going to hold on to that feeling, because I do have other things I'd like to paint. So if I end up taking time to paint those, maybe it'd be nicer. But by the same token, too, I just like it the way it is right now. So, yeah. Okay, this one's getting really messy. But, too, like when you're, not only your enjoyment is enhanced, but other people, too, will enjoy seeing them painted. And if you were to paint and show me this on the table and it looks this messy and whatever, I would say, good job, man. You painted your models. That's awesome. Because too many people just have like what they call the legions of gray, right? Where they just don't paint anything for whatever reason. Oh, I hate painting. Whatever. Well, get over yourself. Just do it. I think it's one of those things that they hate doing it because they don't know how to do it quickly. It's just time consuming, and they don't feel happy with the jobs they do in the end. So it's a whole load of frustration from beginning to end. So why would you want to? But if you learn how to paint quickly and well, then you can start getting just cranking things out like I do. And suddenly it's like, it feels amazing. And then you're really motivated. So that's what I suggest, is just learn how to do well with it. But, again, too, it's just, let's just say, so coming back to quickly, this is where, again, the batch painting comes in. Because if I was to do one model at a time and just focus on one exclusively, beginning to end, it would take me a lot longer. Plus which, I've been doing this for not very long right now. I don't know. I don't see a timer on my phone here. Oh, yeah, there it is. So, yeah, it's just, actually, I when I hit the phone again a little while ago, it stopped. So I'm probably about maybe half an hour. And in half an hour, I've done quite a bit here. So if a person came to me and said, there you go, my team's painted, I look at it, it's like, you know what? That looks a lot better than the Legions of Grey, right? This is some color here. This looks better. Oh, no, I've got a cat calling me. All right, so getting there, right? So we've got some basic colors, and for some tournaments or whatever, if you're playing at a store, they say 3-color minimum. So this would be now acceptable to be played in a store. Now, I'm not leaving it here. Well, at least I'm not stopping here permanently. I think I'm going to leave it here for tonight, just because it's getting a little bit late. I still have some other things to do, but I will come back tomorrow. So this is currently, as I'm painting here, this is Monday, March 3rd. And so I've got this much done in just, maybe half hour or so. Next thing I'm going to do is just do some cleanup on the blues, get the glue all tidied up. And then I will start picking up some details and paint the bases, ink wash, and then done. So I will finish these tomorrow night, and then I'll hopefully have the video out maybe even tomorrow night if things go well. Otherwise, Wednesday at the latest. All right, so see you again tomorrow night. Hey, sleepyhead. Time to wake up. I'm back. I know it seems like just a moment for you, but almost 24 hours for me have gone by now. So ready to pick this up again. Get some more done on these. Just looking at these again, and I think I'm going to keep some of the things fairly simple, like for straps and things, just keep them brown. I'm gonna trying to maneuver around this camera. It's a little bit awkward. Oh. Sorry about that. Goggles and headphones and stuff. I guess he's got a strap on the back of his leg there holding that pad on. So let's just paint that too. And like I said, I knew it was going to get messy. So I'm not worried about it. Get in there, make sure I cover all the brown spots with this tool belt. Thing is now though, honestly, now that I'm looking at him, he looks more like a cable repair guy than a scientist. Yes, they did. Maybe they were cable repairmen that just got pulled off the science ship. They were working for some interplanetary cable service. Okay, I don't see anything on him that I'm going to want to paint brown, so I'm going to leave him. And this soldier. The soldier. And we can do a brown there on that strap. I'm hoping a bit, though, not a bit, I'm hoping a lot now, that with the ink that this cable repairman look kind of goes away. I've actually done the painting, but that's just what I'm seeing now. And I am, not gonna lie, I'm a little bit concerned. But as I also said, this is just a first draft of the team because they're too small. I don't like the size they came out at, and I've just been having trouble printing the new ones to the size I want. So when the new ones print, I'll be good. I will be bon. Swoosh it around there, painting up his tool belt, toolkit on his belt. Again, pardon the rocking. It's hard to coordinate this to paint around my phone. So the tip of the brush, which I'm not usually cognizant of or aware of where it ends, is continually bumping the camera. Oh, I spilled my water. More brown. Let's see, Capitan. Maybe Capitan. Now, this is where I talk about the triangulation of color. If I'm going to give him brown boots, it's 2 points there. I want a third point somewhere up higher, so it makes like a triangle. Oh, sorry. Boot, boot. I want somewhere up higher a brown. I'm just sort of looking at that now before I start doing on his boots. Where would I put brown up above? There is a little bit of belt poking out there. I suppose that might be enough. Okay. That's triangulation of color is something I learned about like a long time ago from one of those old Games Workshop White Dwarf magazines. And I've never heard anybody else talk about it since. Not to say like it's not out there. Me personally, have never seen it mentioned anywhere else. But it has been such a big thing for me in my painting, when I'm doing things. And I think it's one thing that helps me be successful in my painting is because of my color choices. So, where I don't, look what I'm doing. I'm not saying I'm like hugely talented in terms of like the application of the brush, but my choices of colors I think are good. And, I think you could be amazing with brushwork, but unless you're choosing good colors on things, I think you're still not going to be very successful with painting. It's your knowledge of the color wheel and little things like that, like the science of colors, the knowledge that red can be overpowering as a color if you so be careful of where you put it and where you use it. All right, so and then the triangulation of color can all be things to think about. How are you attracting a viewer's eye over top of the model and really sort of getting the best sort of color. I don't know the word I wanted to say here. Is like just the, like I said, it's just the science of the color, right? So like how is all the colors working together cohesively to enhance the model? Like I said, it's not just about painting it well. It's also making the colors work. All right. Okay. So I got the brown there. Now, am I ready to go back over with the blue? When I get to this point where I'm excited too. It's like I get to a point where with the model, I'm like, you know what? You are close enough to where I'm just going to focus on you until you're done. right? And that's an exciting time because that's it's nice to just see a model getting finished and it's done, and I can focus on the others. So I will be painting metallics on the tools of all the toolkits, and all the scientists share the same toolkit. And I'll figure a different color for the scanner. I don't want to just do too much metal. Think about the headphones. Some of them have the headphones and goggles. I may do those metal as well, or maybe. Again, you want to be drawing the eyes to the face. So, having red, lenses on the goggles. They could be like an infrared thing, but that could be drawing the eyes to the face. Putting some more highlights in the face, just doing a little bit of dry brushing highlights in the face area here, just to lighten it up, could help. Okay, so it's again good to sometimes pause and reconsider where you're going, what you're doing, and how you're going to make things work for the model. Yeah, and with these guys too, I was thinking about doing like a wet blend where the paint is wet, repaint some red, and while it's wet, just repaint, blend in another color just to make some difference. I'm not saying I'm going to, but I was also thinking another thing I could do just to differentiate the different parasites is to have different eye color. Whoopsie. So you can have like one with an orange eye, yellowy green eye, like this one right here. So just different things like that. Actually, he's getting pretty close to done too. Now, one thing I'm thinking about here is these pads, like the trim around the pad. But again, I don't know that I want to do too much detail on them. Like it's a gray pad's a gray pad. It'll look great because when it's inked, it's just going to look so much different. It's one of those things you just have to have the faith in to say, I trust, it will be great. Just don't have to do too much. And again, these are, like I said, the prototypes. So yes, as I said out loud, I'm really thinking, I don't want to do that. Okay, looked at you. Captain, I think Captain's probably gonna be my last, just because he's got a lot of extra details that the others don't have. He has the coat, the pants, the things. So he's got a lot of other details. So he's gonna be the last one finished, I think. The soldier, even though he's different than the others, doesn't have a lot of the other things the others have. He is fairly straightforward, right? All the same colors and stuff. So let's see you. So we know we've got a paint in his chest here, paint up in there, retouch up that. He's not too bad actually. And he's got an armband here, a thing, bare hand, watch. Okay, or a chronometer if you want to be very sci-fi. Okay, and then this guy. And I was thinking too with him, again, to draw the attention to the face, is making this a very light color here. I'm not going to do this silver or anything on the gas mask he's wearing. I'm going to make that a much lighter color. Okay, so let's get to it. I think I'm going to work on this guy. I'm going to work on him, so put some green. Alright, so we want to get in there. And that as well. And we did make him a lighter color. Now that I'm painting him, I'm remembering that he was intentionally a lighter color than the captain. I was just trying to do a different skin tone. So I'll just try to dip away some of the color there. And it won't be so noticeable too. I mean, maybe his chest is a little darker. That's fine. So you can see here, there was supposed to be a gun down here, but it didn't print properly. That's fine. That's fine. You know what? I think I'm going to give him my focus now. I'm going to work on this one. So let's go for it. So I think first thing I'm going to do, well, I say I'm going to give him my focus, but I think actually before I do that, I'm going to fix the uniforms on all the guys. All right. So it's awkward how I put my paint thing over here and I have to reach around every time to get the paint. And then I've said it out loud. I'm wondering to myself, why aren't I fixing it? But I'm not. Okay, so now I'm going to be a little bit more careful as I go in. And I say that, and I just already put a spot of blue, but this is where now you can go back over and wash the brush and just kind of pick the paint out that you don't want. But I think I might also do that, give this guy a try, as I said before, with the blending, the wet blend. So I'm not too worried because that will be covered again. All right, so let's just move on. This brush is this is a very, very old brush. And that's the thing too, a lot of my brushes are not great condition. So people spend a lot of money on brushes and stuff. Some of my brushes, I was lucky, I found some half decent high tip brushes. I think like this one was just from the dollar store. And it's served me really well. For a whole bunch of brushes in a pack for like $5 or something. And it's because I am not very kind to my brushes. I do a lot of dry brushing and things. I wear them out fast. So to spend a small fortune on a brush, really not necessary. And I find even with expensive brushes that the hair is splitting apart at the end of the brush and things like that. It's disheartening, especially when you spend a lot of money on a brush. Right. So I tend to just work through that splitting and you see that that curl at the end of the brush there. It kind of like looks like that. The tip curls around. That is what it is, right? I kind of adjust my approach with the brush to know that where the thing is, and I just work around it. It is what it is. Again, I'm not going for any sort of golden demon like professional painting awards and things like that. I mean, so I paint for me. I paint the way I like, and I'm happy with my results, and that's what matters. And a lot of people tell me too. They think what I do is pretty good. So that makes me happy too. It's nice to be appreciated. Right, so there you can see now. Now his uniform is all tidied up. Oh, I see that. I see a little spot there between his holster and his belt right in there. There we go. Done. Okay. So that's his uniform tidied. This thing I like to do, I like to push everybody to one side and then work over, get everybody to this side, then push them back to this side, then push them back to this side, back and forth and so on. And that way it helps me know who has been attended to. So let's clean up his shoulder here, his sleeve. And I messed on his ear there too. Got red all over his ear, poor guy. Well, actually, I still have some green. Still have some green left over. I'll use that quickly now. Throw it up there on his ears, the back of his head, bottom of his ear there. Just make sure he's all tidied up on his skin. On the front of his ear. Wow, I really did mess this poor guy up. Well, I painted the front of his arm. So the back of his arm green, so I'm going to match it to the front there. So he has exposed arms. For now he does. Try to look closer. It's hard to see. Like, does he have maybe I think he has a sleeve that ends there. Okay. I will repaint over that part. Okay. Wash my brush, get the green off. Go back to the blue. So get in around there. Oh, I just painted over the belt. Oops. And honestly, as I'm doing this now, fixing this up, is this belt part in the back is often a detail that nobody would even notice. When you're playing with it, you're kind of looking at the front of the model. You're not really sort of paying attention to details. If with my models, if somebody were to pick it up and here I am painting in behind the parasite here, getting the red that I put in there by accident, trying to tidy it up. And honestly, if I'd left it, I'd kind of be okay with that in a way. I guess part of me wants to do a good job, and I don't want to necessarily be lazy all the time. And like, if you start being lazy, like, where do you stop being lazy? Like how lazy are you going to be? But if I do miss a little spot like that, or there's a spot I can't get, I'm like, meh, and I'm just willing to leave it. I am generally okay with that. And should, for some strange reason, somebody pick up my model, look underneath, and say, oh, hey, look, you missed a spot there. You know what I'm going to say to them? You're looking at it wrong. And they're going to say, what do you mean? Like, how are you supposed to look at it? I say, put it down. That's how you look at it. It's on the table. You're playing with it. You're enjoying it like that. This is not a thing to be examined and criticized and scrutinized, get a magnifying glass out and let's look at it that way. No, I painted it for the table. I painted it to play with, to just make my game table look nicer with painted models. I don't need to have everything absolutely perfect. There we go. So his uniform, his pants, bottom of his pants here. But even again, bottom of the pants, that could be some grime and things. And grime. Now I'm saying grime. Now I'm seeing them as like mechanics with like overalls, like the onesie overalls, what they call the coveralls. That's it, coveralls. Yeah, but the ink wash is also one great thing about the ink wash is it covers a lot of the mistakes that you make. So any of the mistakes, if you have little flaws here and there, the ink wash will cover that. And that's not going to cover details and things. I know people are scared that all the work you put into painting is going to look like crap. It's not. Trust me. I've done this literally hundreds of times, and I've been very successful with it. I think the only time you can say I feel I've been unsuccessful with inks is where there's been actually a few occasions. One is if I'm using not the strong tone. After my success with strong tone, I went into, they have flesh tone and soft tone, and so I tried some of their different ones, and I didn't like any of them. Right, so it's for me, it's strong tone or nothing, baby. And so that was one. Two is if I had like water on my brush or something, and I wasn't aware, and it just made the strong tone watered down. You want to keep the strong tone pure. Just don't worry about making mistakes. That's the big thing. And the batch painting. So doing multiple models at a time just really helps it to go faster. Because when you figure like you spend time and you're painting one model and you're focusing on how long this one model takes you, it just feels like forever. But if you're painting like, let's say you're painting 20 models, and you're sure it's going to take you time because it's 20 models, but as you're making progress on those 20, it just feels better. And then when you see something that 20 is done, it's like wowzers. And I think goal setting too. I remember years ago, I was starting to paint up a Skaven army for Warhammer. And this Skaven, if you don't know Skaven, they're rat men, and there's like just their horde army. There's just like lots and lots and lots of them. And so my thing is I made a deal with myself. I was going to paint one every day, one regular duder. And when I painted one regular duder, if I finished one duder in a day, then I could paint something more fun, like a rat ogre or some character model or something. And that way, I was still getting the rank and files done, who are the less interesting. But so keeping that on a steady pace while also then motivating myself to say, okay, if I want to do this fun one, I have to, put the work in first. And yeah, in no time at all, I was getting my Skaven army done. And eventually I sold it. Not because I wanted to sell it, but I just got out of Warhammer, right? And then I got back into Warhammer. And, then I got back into 40K too after
a very long absence. But like Warhammer, I find it just when I think about playing, it's just like it feels like work. It feels like a chore almost, and it was not. So I was sad because it wasn't as fun as I was hoping it would be. And that's where, God love it, one-page rules came along, and it's just changed my whole perspective now. Like now, I'm enjoying it. Like it's a much simpler system, and it's made it fun again, which is great because, like I said, I had these armies I was painting up, and it was just sad to think I wasn't going to be playing them. Okay, so let's just have a look at you again. Okay, actually, so on I really feel like I want to tidy up that. I don't want gunmetal. I had the silver, yeah. Brighter silver here for the soldier. So we're going to do the soldier up. All right. Given that they're an advanced race, I want to make sure that the silvers used here were very bright. I didn't want any dull metals. And, that can even, not on painting, I could maybe try and do that like some kind of force weapon or something, like a lightsaber. And try to see where the tentacle ends there from the parasite. Okay. I'm just going to dab some, you got some sort of scaly things there from, looks like some sort of armor. I'm just going to dab some metal on there. And you know what? If I go with anything other than metal here, I think it's going to be a little bit out of place unless I did like a purple, but even the purple, he's got the triangulation between his face and his hands. So I'm just going to keep this metallic. Right, so metallic there. And again, you see, yes, I've gone and so I didn't do brown there for his strap on the inside. Can you see that with the shadow? Oh, yeah. And I'm doing a little bit of a mess there with the purple again, with the blue, the metal. So I'm going to clean up the blue again. But it is what it is. I'm not worried. This is part of the process. Okay, so there we go. And that's tentacle there, and that's collar there, so I'll just reach in carefully. And I'll probably touch up his face a little bit. He's got, oh, sorry, I'm out of focus. There. Honestly, full disclosure, I'm looking over the camera. I'm finding it too difficult to look into the camera as I'm doing this, and I'm really hoping that it's been in focus for the most part here. I mean, the times I do look down, it has been in focus, so I just don't want to think I've done this whole thing for nothing. Now I said that, I think I might like to have some fun. Oh, actually, that's a very good idea. Thank you, Craig. You're welcome, Craig. All right, so let's do this. So I talked about the lightsaber ideas. Let's try to do something like this. It's just, play with it, have fun, see what comes of it. So as I apply this, think about what I've been talking about and what might be almost not problematic, but what is a consideration, I guess, that I would need to have about this. So I just did that yellowy green on his sword there. Anyone? Bueller? Triangulation of color. So if I'm going to do triangulation color, then what I can do, I've been thinking about what color I want to do his eyes. I can do his eyes that color as well. And they're bada bing. Now, triangulation of color, but I've also brought the weapon here a little more to life, right? I'm giving it something interesting there. And I could enhance it more. Just get a little spot of yellow here. Just, again, continue to play around, see what I can do with this. So if I go with the yellow now, I can... So this is a little bit like the wet blending that I was talking about. So you can see how it goes from the green up into a yellow. And, okay, you got me. And now, this is my craft paint now. So I sometimes just open up the cap like that. I don't want to, like, pour out a thing. Oh, no, this one's getting a bit gooey. But that's okay for my purposes right now, because I'm just doing a very small thing like this and just blending up to some white there, getting the hair off, and boom. Okay, so it goes from the green to yellow to a more whitish tip. And I might even just avoid that spot with the ink just to keep it that bright color. I think that's kind of fun. Now that I think about it too, go back to that white again, and this brush is behaving again. I don't know, I guess my giving it a timeout made it reconsider. I'm going to, now those two, I when I'm painting something like this, I brace my wrist against like the edge of the desk here, and then let's try and get my tripod to sit nicely. There you go. And then I put my hand on this hand, my elbow braced on top of the desk, and then that gives me. Some people are like, how do you do it? My hands get so shaky. It's just everything's braced, right? Everything is resting on everything else, so it's not like I'm not in midair with my hands. I find I tend to hold my breath too. All right, so put a little bit of spot of white in there. Now that I have the white, I'm gonna bang my phone, and okay, I'm just gonna. He just brushed his teeth. He's got toothpaste everywhere. So, and unintentionally now, I think this is the guy. I said, I always look for that one who's going to be the one. I think he's the one. I think he's going to be the first one done, because he's just getting that close. But having said that, I have some of this metallic here that I want to use, and I think I'm just going to go like this. And for the tools on the other scientists, I think all their tools are going to get a little dab of the metal here. And actually, his gun was supposed to be a bigger gun too. Like, again, I think partly because they were small, partly because my printer hasn't been behaving properly. I need to do some more tuning on it. The insectoid guy, his gun was supposed to be like this really sort of organic looking thing. It was really cool, but didn't print very well. So hopefully when I print it bigger and I spend some more time giving some TLC to my machine, I'll have a better result. Okay, so right now I'm just going in here and just adding some silver to those tools. Who else has tools? You have tools, you'll have tools, and you. Okay. Because I want to use up the silver that I've got. So the silver on the tools, again, it just makes that consistency. And I'm just was extra messy with him. So I'll go back and clean up it afterwards. I'm just going to try here with the silver on his goggles. That looks good. All right, you have goggles too. So your goggles shall be silver. Now, these guys with the red, well, sorry, I'm giving, spoiler. These guys with the other goggles, like the soldier had different kind of goggles. These are more like goo goo goggles, right? Come on, focus. I think to draw the attention to his eyes, I don't want to do like the green like I did with the soldier because they're already quite green. So I think with these, then red. And red too, because now coming back to the science of color, red is a complementary color of green, so it will go well with it. Plus then red being an eye-attracting color will draw the attention of the model to the face, and that's what I want. So I think that's it for the silvers. I've got a little bit of this greenish part there. So that the green I did for the force weapon there. So just considering who would I want. Now I kind of actually thought about it for this guy, for his mask. Let's just see how that would look. Again, I wanted a bright color for the mask. Something to just, this can be something I could use to draw attention to his face. So we're going to dab it on there. This is what his, so he has the chem suit, you'll recall, for his equipment, help him with chemical-based challenges. So this is because he has the gas mask. I like that. I think that works. And again, it'll tone down a bit with the ink, but it just really sort of draws the attention, or draws light to the fact that he has this type of equipment. Okay, so he still has that fish I have to paint. He has some sort of textured shoulder pads there, and straps for the thing, his canister. So he's got a little ways to go. He might even be the second last. We'll see. It's not like I plan these things out. I'm just very fluid and sort of go with what feels right at the time. So while I'm considering this soldier, like I was saying, I'm thinking he's feeling like he's getting close done to me. I'm going to just put in the color for the eye here. Let's just try this. Again, being a green based, I mean, it's yellowy green, but it's green, goes nicely with the red, that color wheel thing, right? Red and green are complementary colors. And then again, too, in terms of triangulation, you're going from there to his eyes. Even the eyes to that is still very much a triangulation. But the parasite can be its own thing, because it literally is a separate thing from the host here. I mean, they are attached, but having a distinction, can make it I like the idea of it just standing out, because it is, this is the boss here. This is the controls this vehicle. And I like that. I like that that greeny thing there. So so what needs done on him? So I need to clean up his face, because he got the toothpaste on him. Could probably use a little bit of touching up on his belt there. A little bit more touching up on his things. Do I have any more of the silver? No. And sometimes what I do too, with a fine tip brush, is if I don't want to pour stuff out, I'll just stick the tip of my paintbrush, just like that. Just tease a bit of paint out. All right, saves having to draw it out of the thing. I'm sure there's somebody out there who can tell me why it's not a good idea, but you know what? I'm an old dog. You're not going to teach me new tricks, which isn't true. I like to learn, but I am kind of set in my ways in some things, which is why, like I said, I'll never want to learn to use contrast paints. All right, so let's see, find a spot here, do some more blue. Okay, just a little bit. And we're going to tidy this guy up. So tidy up his blue there. Got him away from us up there. Tidy, tidy, tidy. 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 Tidy up the tummy. Underneath. If I tidy it now. Yeah, now that I've tidied up, I don't really feel like I necessarily need to go back over the belt. It looks okay. I mean, again, with the ink wash, it'll be fine. Especially as I say, I'm just getting these ready for the table. Always needs a strap under there. So I do need some brown for the strap for sure. But he's getting quite close to done now before the ink wash. So I'm going to do that brown before I forget for that strap under his shoulder there. It's not going in, so... Now sometimes, in these things, the paint kind of dries up in that. I happen to have, where did I put it? A dentist tool, one of these things. Right, what I do with that, I just stick that in the hole, give it a twirl. That opens it up. Right? Because sometimes if you're not careful and you're trying to squeeze that stuff out, it comes out, but then it comes out like a flood, and it's just like you have to like scoop some of that paint back in, or just let it go to waste. And, I'm not, even if you scoop it back in, you're letting some of it go to waste. It's just unavoidable. So I try to avoid that by being conscientious enough to use the dentist tool. So because I have extra brown now, that little bit of release there from the dentist tools caused this to cause a fair amount to come out, right? So boop it in there. Right, so I see needs some more red touch-ups now on the thing, but I'm going to try with him the wet blend on those tentacles. So I think, you know what, I will. No, I'll leave that one silver. I was considering whether to make that strap brown. I'm not going to. I will not. Okay, so now that I have some extra brown, let's see who needs some. So again, like sometimes I think, I'm not going to bother with that. But then when I have the opportunity, I say, well, I've got this extra brown anyway. I'm like, fine, gimme. Right? This guy needed some back here. I had neglected to paint the straps behind his knee pad or thigh pad. Okay. And you, inside thigh there. Inside thigh needs some work. And you, oh yeah, you need your straps. I'm not very good at remember to paint the inside of the straps here. And the outside could use some more. C'est bon, c'est bon. Yeah, see his gun is supposed to have like another part down here, looking like a claw gun or something. Disappointing, but again, probably not something that people would have noticed if I hadn't pointed it out, but yeah. Oh, you know what? You know, we could use brown for straps. Gas mask. Gas mask there. Where is the strap? There. And the strap goes around back there. Sorry, I'm focus. I'm just because it's a very fine strap. I'm holding very close to my face here to try and make sure I'm getting. But you know what? I'm being so careful, but this is not the time to be careful, really. And not because I can always go back over with the purple. Right? That's not a problem. And you know what? I've got brown. He's gonna have maybe this is like something brown in the flask. Maybe a fecal sample, or maybe it's just his chocolate milk. Scientists like chocolate milk too. So just do that. I could do the old tried and true light blue for like a glass beaker, or flask, but yeah, go something a little different. And I'll paint his holster brown. Oh, I guess now that I'm thinking about that, triangulation of color. I did that without even thinking on the flask at the bottom. So now that I have this one, it only reminded me when I did the second one. So now maybe something up on this side. Now I don't want to do that brown. Now look at the things here. He does have like a different sort of padding on the back of his hand there. So I think that's going to be my third brown location. So I'm just going to boop, 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 boop on the brown there. There you go. This is some sort of padding on the back of his hand. And that's it. So you see brown, brown, brown. So that triangulation there. So it draws your eyes around the model. Right? And because if you just have like this riot of colors all over the place, nothing coordinated or cohesive, it just starts to look like a mess. Okay, Soldier, how we doing? How you doing? So I think, he has one more thing that I need doing, and it's actually going to be for that chief scientist as well. And that is purple for the face. So let's get him cleaned up. Actually, maybe I'll call this guy Grimace, because he kind of like, the purple and everything. I guess he could also be like a Thanos. Thanos didn't get the Infinity Rings. He was too busy being controlled by a parasitic race and then pulled off to Space Station Zero. Clean up the hand there. And there. And in his neck. And I think he's good. Try to get down to there. Perfect. Yeah, I think he is pretty much done as I'm going to do him. Minus the ink wash, of course. But it's the parasite that needs doing on him. And, just tidy up these things. Actually, no, I should have done, before I'm doing this, I should have done the eyes on this guy. So once I've done the eyes, actually, you know what? I'm not going to do the eyes. That is something, I'll tell you, I have, since doing this ink wash, I really don't feel the need to do eyes anymore. I was thinking I was going to do the eyes red or something, but I think that would be helpful to draw attention to the face. I guess I could do them yellow like that, and then have the triangulation of color that way with that thing. But I don't feel the need to do eyes anymore, because what's nice is the ink will go into the recesses of the eye sockets and make this really sort of cool shading and stuff like that. Just makes it look like you're looking at them and their eyes, you can't see them because they're in shadow. And people sometimes ask me, that's a really cool effect. But it is just what the ink does. It's nothing of my own talent. It's just letting the ink do its thing. And it really saves the hassle, because sometimes people paint something and they paint eyes and they just look like they're just ridiculous, because the eye sockets just, they look like a pug, with eyes and facing different directions. And I love pugs. No, don't get me wrong, but when you're trying to paint like a tough-looking model, like a really impressive commander or something, and he ends up like with googly eyes, it just kind of ruins the effect. All right, so yeah, I don't think I'm going to paint his eyes. So I'm going to leave that at that. So that also saves me having to go back over that. So, like I said, this guy's pretty much done. I mean, I'm going to have to do his base. Remember, they're all basically going to be black, and then the this guy here. So let's have a go at this. Let me switch back to my bigger brush and getting some red ready. So the red guys. So I'm just considering then how I want the color to go up on him, and I'm thinking, like a nice hot pink, to a blue. I think a green like this would be too much. The purple's going to be too much with his skin. I could go to yellow, orange. Got a nice orange here. A nice orange, yellow. So I just look at my colors now on my shelf still. I have a dark purple. Alien purple. Okay, as opposed to the oozing purple. I think I like the idea of the orange. So let's get that ready. So I'm going to put a blob of orange down now, even though it's not coming out yet. I just have to sort of give a tip here. And okay, a little bit of orange. I'm not going to need a lot at all. But now what I'm going to do, I'm going to reapply paint. So first off, I'm going to carefully, I want to make sure I'm cleaning up those spots that I want to clean up. So, like so, there, and like so, in there. Okay, so those parts are done. And there. And again, I got over his eyeball there, but that is part of what I do back and forth. And again, I don't want to keep, in this case, I can, I say, wet the brush and then just remove that paint while it's still wet. Just brush it away. Okay, so now while that paint is wet, and I might have like been smarter done this, like maybe even one tentacle at a time, but I can even just apply the orange on it like so. Okay, to the ends. This just gives them a bit of variety and not so monochromatic, like one color. You know, orange is still derived from red, so it's kind of nice that way, still within the same family. You know, I still don't think that going to another primary color would have been all that bad. So it's and now I'm just going to go back over with the red again and just try and blend it in a bit so it makes it look a bit more seamless. Okay, so just dab, 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 dab. And this is, again, another way that the inks are great. The inks are great in many ways. One way is just going to be that those transitions are just going to be even less visible once the ink is applied. So I'm just, rather than repainting this eye, I'm just washing that out and done. So I will be very, now I could go fancy and do like a color around the iris here. Do I want to do, oh yes, I think I do want to do that because that's something I talked about. One way to differentiate, well, I guess the yellowy part of the eye could be one color, but I could do the yellowy part, like all humans have white eyes in that spot, right? But then it's the pupil itself that is a different color. Pupil, iris. I'm confusing myself with my eye biology now. Okay, I mean, I could go into a lot of detail here in terms of trying to make it look very fancy. You get all those flecks and things like that. But again, one, this is a prototype model. I don't want to spend too much time on it. Two, if it wasn't a prototype model, I probably wouldn't want to do it. So let's be honest here. Okay? It's not that I feel a need to make them this fancy. This is, I just want to get the game played. I want to enjoy, and they're not going to be showpieces that I need to feel that I put that much time into them. You know, I want to move on. Now here, can you see? Yeah. Okay, those teeth. Those teeth here. Right, the teeth in there. And it's because all the teeth are going up. Right? They're going up, 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 up. I'm going to go across this way. Very gently with my brush, just gently feeling where they are. And by gently rubbing it across, this is like like a dry brush here. And you just, it's not really a dry brush, but I'm just catching the raised surfaces of those teeth. And that has done that. Okay. A couple more things I'm going to do. Where is my black paint? Well, I'll tell you where my black paint is. Where is this? There's some black paint down here somewhere. These craft paints. Again, I know some people are gasping. Yeah, craft paint on a miniature. Whatever. It works, right? Especially when I'm not doing a large surface or anything. And this isn't something that's going to be even handled, right? It's just going to be, I'm just doing it to get the color on there. And that is just in the iris here. I'm going to go wee. Okay, so like that. Actually, I remembered another instance of when I've ruined things with inks, and that is when I don't let things sit long enough. You know, you have to let the paint on your model dry, like give it a good long time to dry before you put the inks on, because if any of the paint is wet, it will just muddy everything and it can really just ruin it. So just please don't rush that process. And here I'm thinking like, okay, hey, maybe I can do this ink before I go to bed tonight, but it's just like, no, you will not. So on that note, yes, reminding myself, it's now 10 o'clock. I still have to work tomorrow morning. So I am not going to finish these tonight, and maybe I'm going to have to look to see how much video I have. Maybe I'll put this video up for this, and then I'll do the second part of this afterwards. I'm trying to get my white paint out of the tube here. It's not cooperating. So that way I can, because I don't want to rush this. I think this has been, I don't know. I think it's been good. I hope you're enjoying it as well. And so this is something I learned when I was painting some chibi stuff, which is like the Japanese style, the big heads and big eyes and stuff like that, and doing those sort of anime eyes. So when doing eyes like this, especially a nice big eye like this, I'm going to put one dot, big dot up here, one dot up here. Just looks like reflected light, and another one down here, just a little one. All right, and that just helps to, that's just a style thing. And I having done it, I kind of like the way it looks. It just makes it look like there's like a reflection or something. And again, if I wanted to get very fancy, I could do like a gloss of varnish over top of that. But that is him. Right, that is it for now. Like I said, ink wash next, but I'm not going to do the ink wash yet. What I am going to do, just so I can feel like this is one thing I can do while I'm waiting for this to dry, is the final base. I'm doing the base, not the final base, but the base. So let's now I do want to try and be careful with this. This is where at this point, it would be a shame to have to go back over things. So apply the paint to the base, and I'm just. There's different methods you can do. I mean, you can, cover the top surface in sand or white glue, and then dip it in sand. Give it a textured base. You can cover it in like a flock, like a modeling flock for like model trains and things, so it looks like grass. You get static grass. You can get textured bases. There's all kinds of different things you could do. Now, when you're getting it from Hero Forge, I don't know if they have it. They can do it without the base. I mean, I could probably cut this guy off the base, but he actually came printed on the base already. Like the base and he are one piece, right? I didn't have to print a separate base for him. So that's consideration there. But when I'm doing something like this, sometimes with my models, depending on what it's for, I might just keep it really simple and just give it a plain old black base. And when you're playing again, sometimes you just, I know some people, they say they spend as much time doing the base as they do painting the miniature. And to me, that is just admirable, but crazy. I couldn't imagine doing that. I just want to get things, I want too ADHD. I want to get things done. I want to move on. I want to do the next thing. I want to, not have a shelf of shame, all this unpainted stuff. Okay, so I might do another layer of black on there just to make it more consistent and solid color, but that's going to be fine for now. Because if I keep doing it, there's just a chance that the paint is just going to, the brush is going to keep rubbing off one layer of paint as I apply the other layer of paint, right? So it's not going to be as consistent. So yeah, this is him for now. So keep this in your mind, and tomorrow when I come back, I need to fix up his shoulder pad. I will finish him off, and the others, and we'll be one step closer to actually playing. All right, so thank you very much for watching, and remember to hit like and subscribe if you're enjoying what you're seeing. If there's anything else you would, any questions you have about my painting or any suggestions you have for the channel, then please do leave a message in the comment section below. Love to hear from the viewers. But until next time, I'm your host, Craig Thompson Wood, saying thanks for coming to the classroom. Ooh, with the magic of editing, this is it. This is the team now done in their base colors. I mean, really, this I painted for 45 minutes or something last night after I stopped recording, and then I painted for maybe another hour and a half, 2 hours today, just to get everything all ready. So I've done all the things up. So things just kind of look, it looks okay, right? Nothing fantastic, but I've been given enough time now that this should be okay for the inking. So I just wanted to give you, let you see the ink. And what I'll do is after I've done the inking, which is only going to take me like 5 minutes here, I'm going to allow them to dry completely. So before I finally put the video out. So you see from start to finish the final models. Now that clickety, clickety, clickety is my Army Painter Strong Tone. And just getting that ready. So as I say, like I have an evolution of my technique with this. So it started off, my first foray into the Strong Tone ink was with the dip. And actually, I ended up buying another can of it because I couldn't find the thing. But I find this is a very different composition. It's a very different thing than what you get in this. I don't like that one. So that was actually a waste of money for me personally. But if you want to do the dip method, that's what I did. I dipped it into that can on the drill and spun it around. That was the first one, right? And I thought, hey, this is pretty good. And then I thought, okay, let's try this ink on its own. And I did. And I found, again, I really liked the Strong Tone. So after using it, so what I'd do is I would put it into like that thing over here. I'd put blobs of it in there, and I'd get my brush and I'd apply it. And I just realized I'm wasting a lot of it just in the tray. So my final step now, what I do is I put it directly on. I just go bleh, like that, just all over it. And people go, what? Gasp, no. I'm like, yeah, don't worry, it's all good. I'm a professional. I know what I'm doing. So you just move it around. It's going to pool. Sorry, again, getting in the way of the thing. It's going to pool in the darker areas, and the recessed areas. But the nice thing too is it dries. It's going to dry, and it's going to, as it dries, it's going to leave this sort of this gradation of shadow, going from dark to light, as it goes from the lower to the high. The high areas will be lighter, and as it settles more into the darker areas, it's going to just make the darker areas look more. Sorry, the deeper, more recessed areas look more shadowed. That's what I'm trying to say. So just moving this around. I mean, just look already in the face. You see the way it's just brought out the nose, it's brought out the mouth and everything. And now let's look at this guy in the back. So just blob right over his face and just move that around. And look at that already. That looks cool. And it really makes those teeth pop. The details in the teeth. Everything get underneath there. And I just apply this like all over. Now, I actually said, now that I'm saying all over, I'm reminded myself coming around here that I talked last day about leaving this sort of force weapon here. If I want this to be like a lightsaber type thing, I'm going to leave that for now, because I can always go back over if I want to. I'm going to leave it without any ink. And voila, I think that's just about him done. So, yeah, I think I got everywhere. And it's one of those things too, if I miss something and I go back later, it's fine, right? It's like, oop, I missed a spot. Go back and add another blob of ink and push it around, and we're good to go. I did get a bit of ink there. Okay, I'm just get a clean brush. Let's get a clean brush. Get my water and try and push that off. There we go. All good. Done. All right. Just gonna add a little bit more ink above his eye. Let's put some on top. Yeah. There we go. So it looks like a lot better, but it's gonna look even better once it's dried. But now I'm seeing here too, it's too much has pooled in that area there underneath the eye for my liking. So I'm just going to use my brush to pull it out because it absorbs back into the bristles of the brush, and it's a little better. Now it is a little bit shiny, but that's where you can then use a matte varnish afterwards. I do that. The matte varnish is nice because it will not only take away the gloss, but it also is going to provide a protective layer to help, stop the model from chipping. It's not going to stop it really from breaking. I mean, if you drop it, it's still going to shatter, but it's at least not going to chip off the paint or rub off the paint as easily. Ooh, that's a lot of ink. Quick, move it around. Spread. Now you see here too, like I went with some different, just playing around with it, having some fun with it. Different colors on the eyes. This one has like pink eye with a green, and then his tentacles fade to the greens on the outside, whereas the other guy there, his faded to orange. And then we got the fish and the brain, so make sure I get some inks on those as well. Especially the brain. The brain has a lot of texture on it, right? So you want to make sure you're getting that. And there we go. So you see how now the details and the creases of the clothing and everything start to pop out, and just he looks a little more worn, less like a cable repairman. Oh, again, too much pooling in the eye there. Way too much. Let's just pull some of that out. Pull it away from the eye. There you go. So now I can see the detail of the eye, and it saves me, like I said, having to paint it. It's just, it makes the eyes look good without having to go. And here's the boss. So I went with pink eyes on him. I thought the pink eyes was kind of nice, and sort of matches in the back there. But it really sort of draws, you look at him and boom, your eyes are drawn right to his face, to his eyes there. Give him a gold thing on his gun. Gold. So again, the gold on the bracelets, and then gold on the tip of the gun for the triangulation of color. And ink. And push it around. And yeah, so the browns of the shirt, the pants, and then tied into the coat as well. So keeping my color palette limited for the models, because I don't want to, like I've been saying, overwhelm it with too many colors. And I kind of feel like maybe there's a bit too much ink on this one overall. So just being careful. Like if there's ever too much ink, then you simply, just grab your next model and transfer it. What you want to avoid is, dipping your brush into water and then trying to spread it around, because then what you're going to do is you're going to dilute the ink, and it's just going to create a whole different effect than what you get with just the pure undiluted ink, which is what I like to use. All right, so how's his face? So maybe some more on his face. Make those eyes, give them some more shade and detail. And again, I think that looks great. Okay, next up. Still haven't come up with names. If anybody has any ideas for names for these guys, I am well open to ideas. I'd love to hear some thoughts and suggestions from the viewers. If you have any ideas for names for these guys, remember, you wouldn't call this guy something insectoid because he isn't. The vehicle is insectoid because remember, this is the real scientist on the back here, right? This insectoid creature is merely the host. So his name would be unrelated to his current form. Because he's insectoid today, could be something completely different tomorrow. Okay, yeah, this one I did put too much ink on, so I'm brushing onto the base. Just to... And, alright, so... Yeah, it looks well worn and everything. So once that dries off, it'll look... It looks even better. It looks good now, but it looks better once it's dried. It's amazing stuff. Like I say, I call this liquid talent because, as you saw, like my painting is very basic, very simple. Just to put the colors on, and then the application of the ink wash is what just makes everything kind of pop, come together, adds detail and things, and also just the speed of it. It just makes it so fast. And so, and it also it helps to hide mistakes too. If you've made any errors or little bits of color here or there, like I missed a spot or it didn't quite reach into this crevice here to get a color. All good. All good. Okay. How's the back of his head? Yeah, back's good. All right. Pants, things, just give him a once-over look under his arms, his watch. Yep. And then last and least, because he is the most junior scientist, he's the guy who wouldn't even be given a gun. I'm not sure because he's the most junior, maybe he's a pacifist or just useless, clumsy, whatever. But anyway, this is the last one. For whatever reason, is he the least? Who knows? We'll see, I guess, when he has a chance to prove himself in the game. And push that around, up and down, over his head there. And yeah, one thing I noticed too when I was painting him, this is like, I forgot that he had not almost like, it's like sideburns, like mutton chops here. And he's got some hair on the back, so make sure to represent that properly. Okay. And a little too much on the screen there. Let's just pull some of that off. And we're good. That is it. So there's the team, folks. They are done painted. Like I said, this is just a prototype because they're too small. I want to make them a little bit bigger. So when I take the time to give my printer some TLC, get it back under good operating, drop my ink, conditions, then I'll print a new one and I'll paint it up on my own time. But this gives you a sense of the team, and I can actually start. So look forward to starting the game soon. But first, I have to edit this video and get it out to you. All right. So once again, hope you enjoyed the video. And if you are enjoying it, please remember to hit like and subscribe. It does my heart good to see people enjoying it by hitting the like, and also I guess helps the channel too to get the likes and the subscriptions and everything. So please do that. And until next time, I'm your host, Craig Thompson Wood, saying thanks for coming to the classroom.